listeners who may not know Revision 3, maybe you could just, let people know what exactly it is you're doing and what Revision 3 is all about.
Sure, yeah. We are an internet television network, so we produce shows. So we're primary creator of content, video-based shows, and not traditional television, not trying to do comedies and dramas, but more shows about the things that our audience is enthusiastic about. So our audience focuses on 18 to 34-year-old guys, and we do shows about technology and video games and movies and music and culture and news and politics. And so we deliver these shows on our own website, but also anywhere people are watching video. So everything from the smallest smartphone to the largest smart TV, websites including YouTube, Metacafe, Dailymotion, and others, and over-the-top boxes, Roku and Boxy. So really just creating shows about topics that our audience loves and with the hosts that they're really enthusiastic about, and really authentic, real hosts who are actually experts in the topics. And then from the monetization perspective, we do dynamic inventory, pre-rolls, overlays, banners, et cetera. But most of what we do are these sponsorships in the show where in the middle of this great editorial, wonderful show about a topic, the host will stop. Hey, you know what? I want to talk about our sponsors. I want to talk about the companies that made today's episode possible. And they'll talk a little bit about the sponsors and a little bit of a break. And then they'll come back and finish the show up.
Yeah, well, that's one of the things I absolutely love about what you guys are doing is that, there's still this separation of church and state, but it seems far more genuine when the host of the show is kind of, crosses over the line into advertising time. And it's very clear that it's advertising time. You're not trying to sell it as some sort of brand integration. Has that approach delivered for the sponsors?
Yeah, it has, and I think your point on the genuineness and the church and state is really important. We can take a step back on that for a minute. A lot of the brand entertainment we see is very disingenuous. The brands people try and integrate them in so that there's a sweet fit, but there really usually isn't, and it feels awkward, or it feels like someone's pulling their wool over your eyes. And in the end, the only thing we really have as content creators, as people are trying to build audiences, is trust. Once you lose that trust, it's really, really hard to gain back. And so trust is essential. Everybody talks about attention. Attention's fine, but if you don't have trust, you have nothing. So, that for us is a real focus. And then from the effectiveness side, it's incredibly effective. We talk to our audience, and 100% of our audience can name a single sponsor. So 100% unaided recall, and 93% can name two or more. But even bigger than that, 57% of our audience has purchased a product or a service from one of our sponsors. So not only can we do great things around awareness and intent and moving the needle on that, but also just action. We drive actions.
That's unbelievable. Those are unbelievable numbers. As a guy from an ad agency, I'm scared by those numbers. And do you, from a metric standpoint, are you? Because I know that a lot of the shows, you'll say, hey, go to, I know Jack Threads is one of your big sponsors. I could name a couple of sponsors, so I guess I'm in.
Oh, right. Unaided recall works for you.
yeah. But I know that on some of the shows, you'll say, hey, go to jackthreads.com/scamschool. And so are you tracking that? Is that how your revenue is tracked, by those unique URLs and unique calls to action?
Yeah, you know what? Look, we use those unique URLs in many ways to track performance for our advertisers. I mean, they don't pay us per click or anything like that, but it's a good way for us to measure the effectiveness, because we are doing something that is at least it hasn't been hugely standard since the 50s. And advertisers are by nature wary, and people come in all day long. They're like, I built a better mousetrap. Give me money. So we've been really focused on helping our advertisers see how well we can do, drive performance and drive results and drive sales. So that's just one of the many things that we do to prove our worth to the advertisers that have come onto Revision 3.
Now the model of the traditional broadcast model is, a network will license a show which is produced by a separate and independent production company, usually, who gets some sort of fee from the broadcaster, and the broadcaster is then responsible for selling advertising around the time. And I guess the delta between what they pay for the show and what they get in advertising is their profit. Have you completely changed that model?
Well, we generate about a third of the shows we produce ourselves. About a third of the shows we produce in and sort of a joint production with a content company, typically, whether it's Lifehacker or Destructoid, the video game blog. And then about a third are shows that people are already building great audiences around their shows, and we work with them to help them monetize and get more out of it. So it's really a mix, and it's whatever works best.
Yeah, so Canadian audiences listening in may have heard of Epic Mealtime, which airs on the Revision 3 network. So I guess those guys shoot that show, and you pick up a license for it?
Exactly. They produce it themselves. It's not like we license it, because I think the whole idea of licensing for Windows and licensing for geographies, the Internet makes that go away.
Right.
So we basically, they come under the Revision 3 umbrella. They still own the show, and they own the IP, but we work together on it. And we work together to sell it. And, if someday we part company, they keep, they own their IP, but we will have done a great job helping them reach a bigger audience and improving their production and doing lots of other really cool stuff.
Nice. Now, the way again, on the traditional side, where, a Canadian network will negotiate, however they do it, through license or co-production or whatever, a U.S.-based show, and then we'll put and sell Canadian advertising in the content. So on one hand, you're right, the Internet takes that geography away, but from an advertising standpoint, don't you still need some regionalization there?
Yeah, absolutely, because, look, you can build a global audience, but most advertisers are looking for, some may be looking local, some may be looking countrywide, some may be looking region-wide. So you still have to have the ability to deal with that.
Yeah, and have you guys done any of that right now, or are you just focused on the U.S. right now?
Yeah, we've done some stuff in Canada. We're working with some folks there to sell our Canadian inventory. As we get bigger, we start to look at selling, other third parties selling our inventory around the world.
Oh, very cool. Nice. And now, do you think this is the future of television, or do you think this augments the current state of television?
Well, I see Internet-delivered video like what we're doing as a new medium, and new mediums never make old mediums go away. They just, change them and augment them. I do think that we're going to start to see all video delivered via IP, and the channels or the bundles of video are going to change. So you're not going to buy your video channels from the same people that you buy your network from, and right now you do. You may, but you may not. And in the future, I think we'll get smaller bundles of premium channels that we buy from somebody. Somebody's aggregated them together in a way that makes sense. I think we'll have a couple of premium channels that we buy a la carte, a la HBO or Netflix. And then there's going to be a whole bunch of other channels that are free to air, free to stream, for everything, that live underneath that go after narrower niches or have different business models. And that's where I see Revision 3 operating in that environment.
Right. Okay. Well, for those listening, I've been chatting with Jim Louderback, who's the Chief Executive Officer of Revision 3, and you can check out Epic Mealtime as well as a whole host of other great. I'm a big fan of Scam School, Jim.
Cool. Thank you.
And Have Judgment. There's just a lot of really great content there, and you can check them out at revision3.com.